Hello. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you are, whatever you are doing. It's that time of the day to make a video, as I made a commitment, make a video every single day, 15 minutes video. And I hope that if you are able to watch this far, to watch all these videos that I've been making, I think you have definitely been also dedicated to watch my videos, so I would appreciate it. So these videos that I'm making, again, they are I'd like to remind this that they are not meant to make people follow me or subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I used to post this video, but it just remind me personally on the things that I am working on, things that I'm studying, because as a master student doing applied economics, I think it's crucial for me to start applying what I learn in the classroom to the real world, trying to explain what I think of these things. If I could be asked by a professor to make a video like this, I didn't want to explain these things the way I think of them. But I think that I am sort of a different student, a different kind of student who just I don't think about what I do or the school as a school. I think about like I'm actually doing the work. I'm actually doing something. I'm passionate about these things. So again, today I woke up. I've been very consistent, which is very positive. Also, I want to mention that I've been doing the gym, so I've been getting involved in the gym. So you're probably gonna see my muscle growing. So today I didn't have a suit on. I just dressed as normal because I had the gym with me. I have to go to the gym and did some workout. Last week I did measurements and I found out that I had 124 pounds. Back before I moved to DC, I used to have 140 pounds. So I have lost almost 20 pounds since I've been in DC, and that's because A, maybe I don't eat as much, and B, maybe it's because I do work a lot. I walk around and run, do exercise. So because I am not working at the moment, and also I take a bus, so walking it makes me lose weight. Because back there when I was in North Carolina, California, I used to drive a car because those areas are car dependency. Now I don't drive anymore. I better drive. So that has made me become physically fit, so which is a good thing. But my weight has gone down to 120, 125, 124 pounds. That was last week. So since when I did a workout first day with my trainer, when I did the first workout, I was very weak. I wasn't able to push. So it made me question why am I not able to do these things like I used to a couple years ago. So I made the decisions to start eating more food, but at this time I have to be more careful on what I eat. So instead of eating food like burger or whatever that is, I decided to eat chicken, and that's because chicken is cheaper. I can go to any grocery stores and just spend $80, buy an entire chicken, like the whole bird, and eat it the same day. So last week I ate two chickens, two whole chicken. Like on Tuesday I ate an entire chicken, then on Friday I bought another chicken which I ate the whole thing. I think it was on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. So the whole weekend I ate an entire chicken. And I kid you not, today when I went to work out, not only was I stronger, but also when I went to the scale, my weight went from 124 pounds from last week to 127 pounds this week. So just within a week, I've gained almost that's 3 pounds extra. So that was positive. That was a good thing. And so yeah, that's what I wanted to share about today. And then after that, I went to study the research. So today I'm going to talk about the research that I was reading. I think it's very important. I had a very contradiction theory, because yesterday we spoke about the poverty. We spoke about how poor countries, how poor nations, make poor decisions, how poor people need extra help. The idea was that poor countries, poor people, they cannot produce, they cannot live longer, they cannot be smart. There's no cognitive issues because they're not getting enough nutrition, and because they don't have enough nutrition, they cannot innovate, they cannot produce innovations. So first of all, we have to give them some sort of income, let them consume, let them fix the issues that they have. Then they can focus on other things like being more productive. And once they're productive, then they can start, making and also things that we need them to do. Um, so that was the idea, and the Western countries, the US and the Europe, has been giving money. The theory was that by giving money to these poor people, they can eventually innovate and produce. But that hasn't worked because they give them the money, they consume, they buy, the consumption goes up. But after that, when the money is gone, they go back to the square one, to zero. So they become poor again. So it keeps happening and happening. So there is no converging. These poor countries, they don't reach the same level as rich countries, despite having the aid. A new country emerged called China, and China did not give any money. They give some money like loans, but mostly we see countries in Africa and in Middle East like Afghanistan, where the locals are becoming more productive. They are building businesses, venture capitalist businesses. And then when they look at the China relationship between China and these countries, they don't see any correlation in terms of politics. What they see is copy and paste. They see these poor countries looking for the opportunity. They're looking for something that China doesn't produce, and then they produce it. So there is suitability. The one I wrote yesterday was about suitability. How suitable am I? If I am poor and there's somebody in China who's poor, but that person in China is able to be productive, can I copy them? Can I do what they did and also produce instead of like trying to? So the United States, I mean other Western countries, they have produced technology like Google, Facebook, but it's a much higher level compared to somebody in Africa. So you have people in like Google, for example, or Facebook co-founders who went to Harvard. Harvard is a very expensive university. It accommodates people who are in a much higher level. So that has been one of the discussions, whether poor nations need some fundings or if they should only be accommodated based on where they are and hoping that they will be more productive. So today's research, however, that I read was mostly about disagreeing that we shouldn't give money, we shouldn't give some sort of income to poor people. That is a bad idea. And it shows that they did a control group in the United States where they had poor people, the people who are below the income, the national level income. They gave them money, out of money to at $500, $1,000, and then this was called uncontrolled, unconditional cash transfer. So cash transfer means the money that you give to somebody in addition to what they already have. So if I'm making $10 and that's my income, but if they give me an additional money, it's called cash transfer. And then this called unconditional, because conditional means you give instructions what the person needs to do. Like, if I give you $10, you must sleep in my house. If I give you $10, you must make sure you eat food. Make sure if I give you food stamp, make sure you buy non-alcoholic stuff, right? But unconditional money, that means that unconditional money does not have any string attached to it. So you can do whatever you want. You can buy alcohol, you can buy food, you can go to the dentist. The goal was to see if these people are going to improve all things that I mentioned above: cognitive thinking, put their kids to school, improve their well-being, improve their healthy, go to the doctor's office, right? And they try to increase the money. So more is better, right? More money, the best. So they're trying to increase this money. Okay, I think somebody triggered the alarm. Anyway, that's weird. So they try to ensure that I lost the track. I don't know what happened. Okay, what is off? One of my roommates, alarm was beeping since yesterday, and I don't like alarm beeping the night, so I'm very anti alarm beeping. So I raised the concern that I need to fix it. I think that's what he's doing. So I apologize for the noise that was gonna come up. But anyway, so the idea was that when they give the money to these poor people, they observe the consumption, they track their expenses, they track their transactions, and they realized after the study they found out that there was no positive outcome. So people who received the money, those who received less money and more money, there was no difference. They didn't do anything different from the previous year. They didn't go to the gym, they didn't work out, they didn't eat healthier food, they didn't consume, they didn't say, okay, I drink alcohol, but if you give me more money, I can switch from drinking alcohol to, I don't know, eating healthier food like salad. If you give me, $1,000 instead of $200, I can switch from smoking to maybe go to a doctor's office and do dentist. None of those things changed. They did the same exact thing, which implies that giving people more money does not necessarily improve their well-being. Now, this research was based on the United States, whereby the yesterday one was based on other countries, was based on a national level. So my contradiction was that, like I mentioned in another video, in economics we assume that people want to get more benefits, people want to have more stuff, but I was just being confused between wanting more stuff, wanting the benefits from more stuff versus being given the stuff, the money, the consumption, and then you got to choose whatever you want to buy. If you get more benefits by drinking alcohol, then you can choose to drink alcohol as your preference, but you can be given more money to drink alcohol. So the goal was to control people, have them do certain things by giving them more money. If they don't do those things, they will be given less money, which is what they call controlled group. So my assumption was more towards controlled group rather than uncontrolled group. So it was very interesting because we have this theory of a universal income, giving each and every person some sort of money, and then expect them to do whatever they want to do, because we do have welfare like food stamp, we have other things like education expenses, scholarships, and you give money to that person and then expect them to go to school and study, right? But the thing is, even if you don't give them money, they will still study. So why not just let them study instead of giving them money? So the idea is that there is no incentive of people doing something because they're getting paid. They're just being forced to do so, which goes against the theory of the willingness, theories of choice, the theory of more is better, right? So those who benefit, they benefit. Those who don't, they don't, when you control these groups. So again, this is a very interesting study, and we did go deep into the math, where we looked into the value of money, how much value you put on the money, because the consumption is based on how much value you put on the money. So if you give every person, for example, take for instance universal income, if you give everybody a certain amount of money, $1 billion, right, that person will start to see the value of money as nothing. Instead, something like a shoe, I talked about this previously, a shoe, a car, pen, a tire, it doesn't have more value than the money. In that sense, people will be spending so much money to get little things, which will increase the inflation. The money loses value. So universal income is not a good thing, but you can give that money to a specific group of people and have them improve their well-being. But you don't want to impose, you don't want to impose the conditions on that money, otherwise it will not yield the result as expected. So that's all I have for today. I cool, thanks for watching. Like always, see you in the next video. Bye bye.